Welcome to the Wealth and Wellness Podcast here with your host, Devon Sherman, and I have other co-hosts with me. I'll introduce ourselves.
Lawanda Gibson, financial advisor.
I'm Ashley Duke, a licensed clinical social worker.
Terrence Daniels, I am a relationship manager on e-commerce merchant support and also military veteran.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the wellness of work, balancing that financial aspect of things, but also balancing out the social and emotional aspect of things as well. So if one of y'all can kind of talk and give some tips or give y'all perspective on what y'all feel like, what do people need to do from a financial level and from a wellness level of how they need to balance everything out?
Well, my question that I was going to ask before we start this thing. Is there such thing as balance? You know what I mean? Because in life, everything, depending on where you are in the season of your life, something will always, a ball will always get dropped. And sometimes you gotta be okay with dropping that ball for a period of time. And so I think that as people grow and they're trying to do things, for example, if I'm trying to grow my wealth, I'm trying to save more money, I'm gonna put down going out as much. I'm gonna put down, there's not gonna be a balance of me. You think about college students, I'm eating more ramen noodles, so I'm a little off balance. I'm not eating what I'm supposed to be eating. It's not nutritious, but I gotta do what I gotta do. So you know what I'm saying? So there's never really a full balance, maybe until we get to that point to where financially it's not an issue. Then we can live kind of how we want to. But until we get into that harmonious state, I don't think that there's ever really a clear balance. And you guys can tell me what you think, but I don't ever think there's always a clear balance. I think that then we have to be okay with how we manage time. You know what I mean? I don't think we manage time well. That will make us more productive, make us more mindful. I feel like we'll have a lot more peace, and we can get more done and be more productive. That's just kind of my thought.
A thought that comes to mind is talking about seasons, right? And just thinking about how you just got to understand what season you're in. And when you understand what season you're in, then you can understand like what it is that you're trying to do, like where you're trying to go, right? So I think not necessarily balance, but just kind of assess like where are you in terms of like your season. And like if you're in a process, like you were saying, save it to invest. Okay, that's the season that you need to scale back some of spending, and then save to invest, and then whenever that season comes, whatever it is you're trying to invest in, then you make that investment.
Right.
So just assessing what season you're in.
That's important. I think that's a weird word.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, I was going to say everything about seasons. Essentially, you know, you just have to prioritize what's most important, right? So whatever is the main task at hand, just make sure that as little as possible can distract from that. So you take the highest priority and then you filter in other things as well. And then on top of that, just always having time for yourself or what is most important to you to keep you balanced, right? So some people overwork, some people over school, some people overdo, whatever they have in hand, but then they don't take the time to focus on themselves. So like I always call those like refreshers. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm trying to make sure that I have a moment to myself to like regroup and then get me back and ready for whatever season that I'm in.
Yeah, so for people who have this thing of whether they're trying to do it in this specific season or whether they're trying to balance it, like how would someone even get to that point of trying to figure out like, okay, I get the prioritization, but it's like some people aren't even in that mindset of prioritizing or understanding that there's a season for a reason or just balancing everything. Like how does someone get to that point of doing those things? What is something that they will need to do?
Do they have a plan?
Yeah.
They know where they're going, right? Because I think about that. If I'm trying to get somewhere and I don't have if I'm trying to drive somewhere and I don't have a roadmap or something guiding me, I'm just driving around aimlessly, right? And so it's the same thing. If I don't have a plan of where I'm going, I'm doing all these things. I'm out of whack. I'm overstressed. I'm stressing myself out. But I really, the problem is I don't know what I'm doing.
Or what about this? The vision. you got to see the vision first before you even get the plan developed, right? So how can we even see, like, what do you see yourself doing? Like, what do you want for yourself, right? You look at that outcome, and then start to try to work on those steps and those plans. Like I'm saying,
Right.
That's a good point, though.
I mean, it's just going back to what you were saying, right? The reason that it's not prioritized is because there's no plan. I mean, I feel like once you plan, I think you start to prioritize, okay, if I'm trying to get here, my vision, I see that I'm trying to be here, and so now I'm mapping it out, I'm gonna prioritize the things that are important to me to get there. So so think about a person who, like today, we have a lot of people who work a 9 to 5, but they have some type of business on the side, right? And so, everybody's trying to convey hustle on or whatever, right? But they don't prioritize their business the way they do their job. And so, and I tell people, listen, it's okay if you're going to work, you're doing what you gotta do, that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? However, your goal is not to stay there.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you're prioritizing, when I get out work, this is my time to build. And I gotta make sure that this time is spent well, because this is what's going to get me out of this 9 to 5. But if I'm not prioritizing that time, then I'm just, why do it? Because you're just overworking yourself at that. You know what I mean? You're just adding on extra hours to your day for what?
I just think I can get that we working towards something, but it's like if you don't have the energy or the mental capacity to do those things, how are you going to think about what you said about prioritization? Like if the mental part isn't there, or if you never experience the self-care of things and how to take care of this, or how to do that, or how to balance this, or how to balance that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know even for me, even just to get personal, 3 years ago, I didn't know anything about self-care until I got around people that were talking about self-care. And honestly, it was more women talking about self-care than men. So it was just okay, what's this thing that they talking about? Okay, actually taking care of yourself, but it's just I went at it a little deeper than just, the traditional, you take a shower, you wash your face, you feel what I'm saying? You may put on makeup, no, I'm just playing, but you may just do those small little things, but it's just how can somebody that doesn't have the energy or the mental capacity get there? That's the person that I'm talking about.
I mean, just kind of going to what she said with having a plan, and what I'm going to say is probably not very popular, because we hear all the time dream big, shoot for stars, all those things. I'm more of a realistic kind of guy. I don't know if it's the military, so I feel like dreaming big is good, but for someone who's starting off who may not have that plan or have that drive, dreaming big sometimes can be overwhelming. So sometimes my mentor, when I'm talking to kids, depending on their personality, I may tell them more dream realistic. So okay, I'm just gonna use sports for example. Let's say you get a kid that says I want to be in the NBA. That's really big. I'm not going to tell you you can't. Right. But I may say, how about we dream to be on the varsity team? Right. How about we dream to be the best player of your team or school? Right. And then how about we dream to win the championship for your state division? How about we dream to get to the top? Because when you think NBA, that's great, but then there are these other things that come way before that. You don't make your team. If you don't, perform like you want to perform, you don't go to the gym. How often you go to the gym? Think so much on the big picture, you forget the little details that goes into it. Now, someone who's more motivated, has the plan, they can probably have that dream big mindset and still keep those little things in priority. But if we're speaking to those that you have this question about, I tell them, hey, find a realistic goal. And what I do is I try to plan it backwards. So when I got in my company, I went, okay, I love this company, what do I want to be in this company? I didn't know yet. Then I found something that sparked my interest. I said, okay, this job is here, I'm here. How do I get there? What positions fall up under there? And so I slowly just took steps to build up to where I was. And some of them, right? Some didn't come with extra pay, some or whatever reasons, but I put it backwards, and then it tended to work out.
So what's that, sacrifice? Risk taking, something like that?
Sacrifice, risk taking. Having that big picture in mind, right? So if you know something that you want to do, prioritizing it, again, going back to that, knowing also what season you're in. I can't go out this week. I got this to do. I can't hang out. I can't go to that vacation if I'm saving up money to get this house. So like having all those factors in your mind, I think definitely helps get people where they want to be. And that's all part of the wellness. Because any form of that being off, you're imbalanced, you haven't met your goals, now you're depressed, you may even be set back further than what you really when you started. And the saying, you know, one step forward, two steps back is very true to life. And if you ain't got the hustler's mentality, you don't have the drive, those two steps can look real bad, real depressing, real draining.
I got a question. Why did we, because you brought up something, okay, about self-care between the difference between men and women.
Yeah.
So why do we think that self-care looks so different for men than it does for women? I can answer for the men because I kind of know that, I kind of know my answer to that question, but why do you think, how do you guys as men think it's different the way we look at self-care versus the way you guys look?
Terrence?
I just spoke.
I got you. I would say, I think it's not really like viewed upon as like that's something a man's supposed to do. And for me, when I thought about being masculine and being a male, I'm like, well, I should be rough. I should be this masculine macho man, and not, you know, if my fingernails dirty, they just dirty because that's how men, I guess, that's how, you know, like nobody ever talks about the cleanness of how you need to be well groomed or how you need to eat and different things like that. You know, your mama says like, hey, you don't need to eat like that, but it's just like, but like why? Like why do I need to stay groomed? Like there was just always well, you just need to do this, but it's like, well, why? Why do I need to do this? Like there was no reason behind what I'm doing. Like why am I doing this stuff? You know, but of course, like our parents would tell us that, but I just never understood why for me, personally. And I just never seen like, well, I'll say this: the men I did see well groomed, you know, they were a little, yeah, or metrosexual. That's what I got called. After high school, metrosexual. I didn't know what it meant. I was like, what's that? Because I'm keeping myself up. Like, I didn't know. But it's just like little knick-knack stuff like that. It makes you think like, whatever.
But I think the way we look at self-care, I think we're looking at it too specific. Like, it's just like, okay, well, dressing nice or, you know, taking a shower, whatever.
Yeah.
That's just normal. You know what I'm saying? Self-care for men could be going to play basketball with your friends because you're relieving stress. And self-care could be that you going to the movies by yourself in the middle of the day because you don't have this crazy day and I need to take a mental break, so I'm about to go to the movie going to the gym. Like certain things like, so we, and the reason that's why I brought that up, because you said self-care, I'm thinking like, what is your thought process on self-care? Because for us, we think about these things, women, we think it's like everything. Like self-care could be me hanging out with my friends instead of spending time with my grandson or my daughter. Self-care could be me getting my nails done and hair done. Self-care could be I need to take the time to just read.
Right.
I need to just spend time without anyone. I just need to be quiet. So there's so many things for us that we say it's self-care, but you guys do something different. When you talked about it, that's the reason I brought it up, because I knew when you talked about it, you was gonna talk about grooming, and I'm like, self-care is so broad.
And I think it's more about like what you feel like when you're actually doing activities. I think we get so consumed in like, oh, if I'm getting my nails, if I'm getting my hair done.
Right.
It's bigger than that, or you're grooming yourself. I think it's more about how do you feel when you're doing it. Right. How do you feel after you're doing it?
Right.
Are you feeling better? Are you feeling like more stress relief? Like, then this is when you know, all right, this is actually something that makes me feel, this is self-care. So I feel like self-care is more about, yeah, but I think it's more like, if you can tap more into yourself, like when you're actually engaging in the activity. So what I mean by that is like, are you able to like recenter yourself? Like, are you able to like tap into like your own solace, your own peace, like when you're actually in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think so much we just, like I said, we get so consumed in the action and we don't really tap into like you are regrounding, you're recentering when you're actually like getting into it. It is. It's a recentering.
Yeah.
And it's a regrounding. I'm telling you, it really is.
A trainer, I had a trainer once, I used to always say you gotta focus on your nucleus. Like you gotta focus on your nucleus, like you gotta get your nucleus right. You know what I mean? Once you get yourself centered, then you can do all the other stuff, but you gotta get your nucleus right.
Because you're pulling your energy from it.
Mhm.
That's what you're pulling your energy from. So if you are kind of feeling like you're scattered, or if you're overstretched, you probably feel like you're being pulled in so many different directions. But when you get that self-care and start doing those actions, you're recentering yourself. You're kind of pulling yourself back into you. So then you're re-energized and refilling your cup back up.
Right.
That's why self-care is so important. It's bigger than I'm about to just go get my haircut.
Yeah.
I'm about to go. It's like jogging. No, you are pulling yourself like off of the expectations of life that you're pulled in so many different directions. You're just pulling that all the way back to yourself.
And it's important to have that in any
have to
ever
hear
do that. You know,
Yes.
however you do that. It could be spending time with your kids can help on you, or whatever it is you need that time. But just make sure that's why women, I feel like women take on a lot. So we are intentional about our self-care right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? We intentional. Hopefully, that's true. Hopefully, I wouldn't say it ideally, but I feel like it's a conversation that women mostly have. Let me say it like that.
I agree.
It's a conversation that most women have. I don't feel like men have self-care conversations.
For sure. Do you have a self-care day?
Let me, before I said, your question on why do men not partake in self-care versus women. Before I answer that, I do have one question.
Okay.
Where do you two learn self-care?
Ooh.
And then I'll give a response to my theory and whatever.
I did. So for me, I didn't know what self-care was until they got talked about. And it was like, okay, well, am I taking, I didn't think of it. It's kind of like what she was saying, like, how do you feel when you're doing those things?
Yes.
I didn't think that those things were doing anything for me until I had to start to stop and say, wait a minute, I need this quiet time. Wait a minute, I do feel better when I get up early in the morning versus when I'm lagging in my day. I feel better when I do my exercising in the morning versus waiting till later on in the evening. I feel different so those things made a difference, but I didn't know those things were self-care because the conversation of self-care is so new to the pool. So it's in our language, it's like, oh, okay. So wait a minute, I enjoy these things. So certain things do bring me back. If I'm getting my hair done or whatever, those things I like to get my hair washed, right? Just something about getting your hair washed, right? So those things do center you and you feel good when you do those things, but not necessarily thinking, I'm just thinking, okay, I'm taking care of me. Not thinking I'm
Like
taking care of my spirit.
Exactly.
To me,
Yes.
for me personally, self-care is taking care of my spirit, making sure that I'm at peace. So for me, quiet time, trying to, journaling, love to journal, reading, those things center me. Nothing else center me like those things.
I'll say for me, I learned it in school. So just not on school, but just learning about social work and learning how to actually balance out typically the stress when you're working in the field. Like, how can you pull yourself back? Or teaching the clients like how to develop self-care or skills and just pouring back into themselves. Honestly, I didn't even know anything about self-care like outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And even outside of schooling, I still don't hear a lot of that conversation. I mean, like you said, it is starting to become more like normal, and a lot of like Black women empowerment or empowerment groups, we're talking more about self-care because of the connotation of the strong Black woman.
Right.
And we're trying to like pretty much pull that down and say like, no, it's not about being strong anymore. You don't have to wear that title. So I feel like that conversation is being had, but other than that, I didn't know anything about self-care.
So, and you mentioned washing hair. I can't find something. Something else out of that. What I found interesting about both that you said it came up in conversations, you mentioned women. Both of you said women need story. It's a lot more, and I'm not here to do man versus women. This is not the gender battle. You know, this is not the sexist. I want to say this before. I'm not blaming women at all. I think this is on men as well. I'm just gonna give you my perspective on how it is, right? So men and women are viewed different in society. Sure. Those conversations you all spoke about are happening in the women's pool. Right? And it's frequent, maybe as frequent as it should be, but it's happening. Girl, get out, you need to do something. Women know too. You know, let's say you just had a baby, you know, it's 6 months, 8 months later, for you to get out the house, you gotta have a very good way of like seeing what's going on and having that concern. Whereas like, and you've been taught that through your mothers, through your aunties, your grandmothers, right? So with men, you haven't been taught that. So sometimes our homeboy is going through something, and it takes men a lot longer to see it until he ain't on Xbox Live or PlayStation Live as much. Or he usually comes on Thursdays, but he ain't been in 3 weeks. Right. And so it's only at that point where you start going, let me call, let me check up, because we haven't been taught that because we didn't see anybody check up on our daddies. We didn't see anybody check up on our granddaddies. We never seen anybody check up on our moms. Outside of their mom. Your mom will always call it. But outside of that, you don't see it much. So like for me, my circle, I make it frequent to be like, hey, what's up? It's been a week and I ain't talked to my circle. I gotta phone in, right? And I got a personal story I can get you for an example on that. But the reason why I brought that up is because I feel like it needs to just be more of a comfortable space for me to talk about those things. And then this is the part that's going to be interesting. I think because men and women's self-care looks different, I think sometimes men get, I don't want to use the word bash, but I think sometimes men get a negative attitude towards their self-care. I'll give you an example. Why are you always on the game? Get off the game and do something. That's self-care. So you just told that man who worked 40-some, 60 hours a week, who fixed the car, who did all the stuff in the house, to get off of the video game because you want to do something different. But what you're not understanding is you got to figure with his self-care. You think it's some grown boy playing Xbox, but it's a man getting away from his reality of life, getting away from work, getting away from I gotta get the roof fixed in a couple of months, getting away from the grass need to be cut, getting away from the kids that got to school. Right now, in this hour, I'm gonna play my game with my friends. Sure. You know, self-care could be, I'm not saying over drinking nothing like that, but I'm gonna step out of the scripture, fellas. Why you gotta go out? You can't go out with me. You can't go out with me. So again, I'm going to play basketball like this. And also I feel like women hanging out with the girls is a positive outlook. Go girl, how you feeling? Need your girl time. Men hanging out with the fellas is more a negative context. Because it comes with cheat. It comes with, well, why do you want to be away from me? Home at the house. Why you with the homeboys? You know what I mean? So we're so y'all self-care, you saying y'all self-care triggers insecurities in women, so we need to start again. I'm not doing the no, you're up. Yes, I am setting a scenario.
No, like it's here.
So this is the circle I've been in, right? When women go, like my girl, and I'm pretty sure with you, right? Let's say our woman's like, we don't go out. And you gotta test this. Don't men know me like, go home. What you mean? If it's a good man, right? What you mean? You come down, $34, get you some drinks, whatever. I get you like it's a little bit more like, no, and here's why. Because if you don't go out with your homegirls, you're gonna be go out. Because that's what helped my nuclear. And guess what else? Guess what else?
You're probably gonna be on the game while she goes.
That was a double.
Yes, self-care.
You just went out was a double for me.
Be happy.
That's hilarious.
In peace.
Wow.
The kids sleep, everything good. I'm straight.
Yeah.
She's on.
And
And
then look. Hey y'all, what's up? You know, so I think that, and again, like I said, not to do the gender thing, right? I think because on men's side too, we need to one check in on our brothers from work, and we need to make sure that we're encouraging self-care. And when these discussions happen in a more masculine environment, we don't need to shut it down and be like, "What you do this? We go, you doing that?" And back to my personal story. Then I'll be done. A close friend of mine. Like I said, I was in the military. I'm in the military, so I'm in the National Guard. So 1 week in a month, I go to training, here and there, but I got a job. I'm still in Cincinnati, but I had to go. Anyways, I was gone for some Army training for like a weekend. Come back, I was not talking to my buddies in a while, call him up, and he like, man, tell you, depressed. What's going on, man? Man, he got put out of his mom's house. He was in transition and like trying to get his own place. So he was sleeping in his car. He slept in his car that weekend. That whole weekend, he slept in his car. Mind you, I had a whole 3-bedroom house that was empty the entire time because I was going for training. Kids were working around, like, all right. I cussed him out. I said, bro, why didn't you call me? You could have been late. You been looking my crib. You ain't inconvenienced me at all. You might give me a service. I got somebody there to watch over, everything. So I had to tell him, like, yo, don't be doing that, I said, get over to my house. I told him, look, man, you stay as long as you need, don't pay me nothing with feet. Within 2-3 months, he was good, got his own place, everything worked out, whatever. But that was a scenario of like, not, kind of taking self-care in a different direction, but like me checking in on him and then taking that initiative and be like, no, that's not what's gonna happen. So you sit in your car, you're not gonna be functional for your job, how you doing with your job? You may not be functional for the thing that you can get you to where you at. So I'm gonna bring you into this environment, we're gonna do some self-care.
Yes.
And months later he called me, he thanked me, and he was like, man, that was the best thing that happened, and all that sort of stuff. So I say that to be like, men just need to do more of those things, because I feel like for one, those conversations are more natural.
Yes.
And like I said, you guys just pick up on stuff so much faster.
And I think, like, really, as women, you can take some accountability. Yes, I said accountability.
Yes.
Women,
Yes.
same sentence.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
So, I feel like as women, we can start to encourage to have that conversation with our men. And we should say, like, okay, what is self-care? What does self-care look like for you? And I think we don't have that conversation.
Not in relationships at all. I feel like we keep those conversations separate. Like, instead of me coming to you saying, hey, this is what I need, and we in relationship, I'm going to the outside the relationship, you know what I'm saying, to get what I need to come back to you, and you like, but you ain't even come to me. So that's where that nagging comes from, because you don't even know what's going on. You like,
Yeah.
And maybe see the checks, right? And I get
And vice versa.
men don't pick up.
Vice versa.
They don't.
Remember my example, I said men wait long for the checks. So with women, it's more instant. So
Yeah.
that's why in relationships, women go, how do you not know?
Yeah.
Because
So listen, but I mean,
I would say men are simple. They are simple.
you don't get paid in the money in your account, but it's like not in your account. That's men. We just pin. We have this shit pinned. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the money there, but it's not all the way in your account. Look, my parents say 10,000. They're like, yeah, but you got 5,000 penny. So it's there, but it's not there. So we're trying to spend this money. It's still paying. It's still paying. You not wait 2-3 days. It clears. But you got a patient woman that's gonna wait 2-3 days. And also too, just if you want to take it to a relationship, I think that self-care doesn't alter self. Here's what I'm saying. Self-care ain't gotta be by yourself.
yes.
No.
And if we invite, especially our significant others, if we invite them into our self-care space, they will understand better. But you wanna know why I like the game? Get on the game with me.
Right.
And if you like get on the game and be like, oh, I can see how somebody, it's a fancy world, you get to be something different, you get to create these creators. Maybe your man wants to be a hoop star and he can't be. Guess what? He can be. They want the game. They look like him, but they they ain't a hoop star. And vice versa. You wanna, what go? I had a right-hand lady. This was when I was in my early 20s. They the woman that sticking her nails done, and I'm waiting. And she was like, she got her hands on. She did her pedicure. She was like, "Why don't you come to me pedicure?" Like, no, I pay for it. I'm like, shoot, free, okay. I'm like 21, 22, and never had a pedicure before. I'm in a salon. There's no men, you know. So I started making. You know what I'm saying? So I sit there. The lady gave me my pedicure. Amazing. That's what, maybe 10, 12 years ago. I've been getting pedicures every 3 months now.
Oh, good.
At least like 3 months. Had I not had that experience, you know, I would have known and be like, oh, this is a part of self-care. And I'm just like,
That's
this is, you know, so invite your man, you know, I'm gonna do my nails done. Come with me. And then he may be like, no, come with me. And he gonna sit in that chair. And he got said right away. But when they start rubbing that bunion, you know, that's your self-care at another level. You know, so make self-care so selfish.
Yes.
Make it more inviting. And then that way, especially with your spouse, your friends, the people that are important around you, maybe they will understand each other, and then they'll start knowing and understanding like what you need. So when your man is in the rut, things aren't good, you know, and you see you just subscribe to GameStop because you want to let your man go to the game. You know the Madden coming out on Friday. He knows it's coming out on Friday, right? Guess what happened on Friday? He come home.
Game
already there. I done already signed in your account. Go ahead, do your thing. If he know you like a certain author, you like a certain book. Oh, this person's in town. You're doing this book signing. I'm gonna go ahead and take it because I'm gonna show you this book. But there's nothing reading. You don't explain the book to him. You know what the author is. You don't tell him why you like the book. Because then why you like the book is gonna tell me about you. Right? So now we're connected on another level right there.
I like that.
So
Okay. Yeah, he took the words.
Give me a different perspective. See, I appreciate that.
Get your warming then. All right, as we go into our next segment, this segment is drop a gem for the listeners. Buddy, drop something real quick.
Dropping gems this time.
We have this is gonna be more intentional, and I'm gonna say that be intentional with what you do, how you do it, with what you do and how you do it. Be intentional.
Be self-aware. We were just talking about that before the show started. Start being a little bit more self-aware, and I feel like that's when you are getting to. If we more self-aware of how we show up in the world and be more intentional about how we show up in the world, I think that we can start to now prioritize our time better and put things in the right perspective, so to speak. Look at these from a different perspective. Challenge your thinking. Challenge what you think. I think sometimes we don't realize what you believe is what's showing up in your life. And if you don't like what's showing up in your life, you need to challenge your beliefs. Because what you believe, whatever it is that you believe, if I believe all men are dogs, guess what I'm getting?
Yep.
Because every time I meet one, that's what they are. You know what I'm saying? But I have to challenge that belief and be like, are they really all dogs? Are they really? Is that what I really believe? And now you show up and then you meet this guy and he's like, oh, he's Prince Charming. But I changed my belief and now I'm open to see more than what the only thing that I believe is going on. So I would say challenge your beliefs, be intentional, of course, and start to be more self-aware.
Get your warming.
I would say dedicate time, like a day of the week or even an actual time frame to actually commit to self-care or inviting a partner to that self-care practice. And stay consistent. Like no matter what is going on, put it in your schedule. Don't ever deviate from it and just say, no, this is the time I'm committed to this. Or no, I cannot do that because I have something committed in my schedule to self or care for myself or to invite somebody else into it. So definitely stay committed to self-care for sure.
I would say try things, do things that are unconventional, do things that may scare you. Again, I talk about examples. A few years back, I was on Groupon and I went to a deprivation tank. You know what that is?
Okay,
So it's a deprivation tank chambers. So it's like a bubble that you float in salt.
Oh, for the water.
Yep, and all your senses are supposed to be gone. You can't feel, you can't hear, you can't see. It's super dark. I had an out of body experience. I was in my mind more than I've ever been in my mind in my life,
Wow.
and it freaked me out. I came out and I was in tears. I don't know why, but I was in tears, and I felt something. And I plan to do it again. It's been like 3 years, but that was something that I thought was like very curious. I saw it on podcast, and I was like, try that. And I did it, and I literally called it over. Got to try this thing. So I recommend that, but also just putting yourself in a situation that like makes you more comfortable.
For sure. For sure. You'll grow that.
That's
That's
where
the
you're
only
going.
way you'll get challenged.
Yeah. Next segment, which is the last segment, is what are you going to do about your mental health?
What are you going to do about your mental health?
Yeah, so I'll go first. I think the biggest thing for me is reducing the amount of grace that I give people. And I'm saying that because
You say grace?
grace, yeah, reducing the amount of grace that I give to people that I feel like are, whether they're doing it intentional or not, the challenge is to become more self-aware of what you're doing. So I have to constantly tell you what you're doing and how you're doing it. Like, I feel like there's so much grace that you can give someone, and it's like for me, there's a thin line that I'm giving people with the grace thing. Because everybody is just, oh, give grace. You know, people don't know this, people don't know that. But for me, it's just like, okay, I feel like I gave too much grace. It's kind of like when you prepare a Thanksgiving meal and everybody just take, but nobody actually invested in the meal or brought anything to it. Everybody's just taking because this is what you provide. You know, it's free. Isn't it? I mean, you get mad because I took it.
Yeah.
But why couldn't you contribute?
The question is, did you tell them the truth? You have to make sure that they're aware of your expectation of them. If they're not aware of your expectation of them, they're doing what their natural instinct tells them to do. They're taking. You know what I'm saying? And which is most people's natural instinct, right? So you have to make sure, regardless of how you feel about it, like even if you're like, listen, I've told you, I've set an expectation, and you're not meeting that expectation. So when I take my grace back, you understand why. It's not like I'm slapping you in the face or I'm offending you, because I'm telling you up front, this is my expectation. This is what I expect out of you. We're going to work together. We're going to do whatever, X, Y, and Z. This is my expectation. So when you take that grace back and you say, listen, you ain't following through, they are aware. It's not out of air. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're not like, well, what is this come out at? You know, why is it? I showed up, I did. And you're like, no, but you didn't do this, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do this. But there was no expectation. They may not have known. So what I would do, just like the Thanksgiving meal, you know what I'm saying? Hey, if you come into the meal, everybody bring something. Bring a dish, bring a side dish. You know what I'm saying? If you get an invite, bring something. You tell people, right? So then when somebody comes and they don't show up, and they eating, you don't even have to tell them. They kind of feel some type of way. I don't want to just go get some forks or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're gonna bring something because they see the expectation that everybody else is saying, hey, I'm bringing. They don't want to be the one left out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even if you take your grace away from them, you just got to make sure that they understand where it's coming from, and it's not just out of the blue because you're frustrated with everybody. And somebody just happens to not get no grace, and they don't even know why, and you don't went off on them, but it's really because of all of this. Does that make sense? So just make sure you're giving them some type of direction or expectation before you take your grace.
So what we're doing this would be as far as the mental health.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the question was
Yeah.
asked. What would I do? Let me rephrase the question. What's the question again? What would I do?
What are you going to do about your mental health?
My mental health?
Yes.
For me, prioritizing my time. I do it a lot. I take care of a lot. I spread myself thin for no reason. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm doing it for no reason. I love serving people, but I also have to realize that I'm a priority in my life. That's why being quiet, spending time in the morning, being quiet is so important to me because that's my time. And like, okay, God, I'm not just going today, but you know, I gotta start. So prioritizing my time in that and saying no. I have to be diligent about when my time is set. I can't do it. I want to help everybody and I want to do all of these things, but it's not. It can't be to my detriment. So I have to say, when I put this down and I want to do it, I gotta stick to that. Cause I'll easily be like, you know what? But I'm gonna do that. Just do this. Let me just go over here, man. I gotta help them, so let me stop back. Let me go over, you know. And then now I'm so like I'm spinning out of control. But when I already had a plan, so I have to stick to what I said I was gonna do, and that's just for me, for my own mental health. Gotta stick to my calendar.
Well, I told you that too.
Yes, I know.
I would say for me, overthinking, just kind of getting out of that space, getting out of my head. I'm typically like a thinker. I would think about something, break something down, put it back together, break it down again, put it back together in a different way. And I feel like a lot of the times, obviously, it will keep you stagnant if you stay in that space. So for me, I feel like just getting out there, taking action, that's the opposite of overthinking, and just trusting more that life will just continue to unravel and just steps will start unfolding right in front of me as I just take this step. So I would say, get up my mind and just go for it. Even if it doesn't really make sense or if I don't really see how it's gonna look, just know that it's just gonna unfold. So
It's a good one. You got that too.
I would say, and as I'm saying, I'm gonna kick myself, but I would say I'm working more on my fitness and what I eat.
You so fit.
More of my fitness, and then make sure I put that as prioritize that time I spread myself in, and then also like I'm trying to focus on like more of what I eat, right? So slow down fast food, or stop eating pork, like little things to kind of just make myself, like I'm trying to inch towards no more red meat. In a few years, I want to be just fish and chicken and kind of like so just kind of like and cooking more, right? So like
There's food at home.
you gotta eat, but trying to cook more. And so yeah,
Do you know how to cook?
Yeah,
Like for real?
yeah. I mean, I ain't throwing down.
That's true. That's funny.
Well, look, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Wealth and Wellness Podcast, and we out just like that. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
All right.
We out. That's it.